Oh yeah. So welcome to part two. Welcome to part two of my story of being bewitched and poisoned in church. Yes. So as I was saying just before the other one ended, this is part two of the story of what happened to me in Sierra Leone in a church, done to me by elders of the church, deacons of the church. So as I was saying, it turned out later, after all this ordeal of having been extremely sick and actually, I thought I was going to die, and I've never been able to explain why I never went to church. I guess it's just the gullibility of being in a place where speaking about a religious leader, speaking about the church leadership, speaking about people in the church, especially those who are in the positions of power, I would say leaders, the pastors, the deacons, the elders, and the like, was unacceptable in the sense that it was not allowed to happen, because if you spoke against a fellow member, especially if it's someone in leadership, then you are giving a bad name to the church, whether or not they did something wrong to you. Regardless of what they did to you, it was not accepted for you to speak about them, for you to report something done against you, for you to report something done. It was supposed to be dealt with, hush hush, and and swept under the carpet. So that's what happened. It was swept under the carpet. So back to how it came to light and what had happened. So about 3-4 months later, after this ordeal, I managed to travel home, recuperated, gotten better, gotten back to my feet fully, and came back to Sierra Leone, went back to Sierra Leone rather. I'm now in Kenya, so I can't say I came back to Sierra Leone. Went back to Sierra Leone, back to work. And of course, there had been discussions about this, what could have happened. Some people had told me, yeah, we were praying and we were fasting for you, Pastor. And yeah, we know there was a spiritual attack. I didn't know what it was. I tried finding out. No one was telling me. The senior pastor was not telling me anything. Whatever happened. I let it go. Eventually, I let it go. I even forgot about it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it could have been, could not have been. I just thought I had something bad in the food, in the sandwich. I remember, that's why even today when I'm making eggs, when I see an eggshell, I shudder, because I remember seeing eggshells, some few pieces of eggshells, you fry an egg, and and maybe a shell broke and fell into it, and it wasn't removed. So I was like, yo, maybe it was the eggshells I was allergic to. However, I'd never been allergic to eggshells before, because I know there are times that even I had fried eggs and people that fried eggs, and I would find like a piece of a shell, remove it, so which means probably there's a piece I never saw, or pieces I never saw over the years. So I couldn't understand why this particular time this happened. So I just told myself, maybe it was eggshells, maybe it was something in the food, food poisoning. I didn't even suspect that anything had been done to me intentionally. Till 3 months later, there's this meeting in the church. The senior pastor called for a meeting in the church one of the evenings. I think it was one of those weeks where I would go to church Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday people go for evangelism, Sunday there's a service. So we had, I think it was one of those times. So I think it was a Thursday evening, and he called for a meeting after the service. The evening service had ended around 7ish. So 7:30 he said he wanted to meet all the workers in the church. So of course that meant all the leaders and everybody else who was serving in the church in whatever capacity. So we were sitting there, and he summoned two of the deacons. So one of them was the guy who had been giving me the death stare in my first Sunday I was there, after being made officially the main pastor, the assistant pastor, and another younger guy. So this deacon who did not like me because of the position that I took, which apparently had been his, or he wanted to be the assistant pastor, was about, I'd say maybe in his late 40s, going to 50s. He's not a young man. He wasn't young then. I'm pretty sure, of course, he's not young now either. And the second fellow who had been summoned was much younger than him, probably in his early 30s or late 20s. So they were summoned by the senior pastor because there had been reports over the 3 months prior to this, that they were going around the town harassing people in the sense that they'd walk into somebody's shop, pray for them, and then tell them to give them something small, to tell them to pay something because they had prayed for them and blessed them, so they needed to, bless the men of God for praying for them. So it had been ongoing for quite a while. So eventually the pastor got tired of the reports coming to him, and people were like, you know what, now we'll take these people to the police. They're going to report them to the police, get them arrested, because it's basically defrauding the public. So he called them out, and he's like, hey, you two come here. there have been reports about you in the town, you need to tell us what is happening, and this has to stop from now henceforth, whatever, that one needs to stop immediately. And so the two of them came forward and they were like, yeah, they're accusing us falsely, it's not true. And he's like, no, I had this report and this report and this report from this shopkeeper, this shopkeeper. And most of the people reporting, mind you, were not members of the church who they were harassing also. They were members of, business people or people who were just working outside who knew which church they were in, which church we were in, and came to report. The members of the church, remember, had the same kind of scenario as me, where they would not report because even if they reported, probably they would be chastised for reporting. And if they reported and pushed for anything to be done to them in terms of disciplinary action, the person reporting is the one who would suffer. It's the same kind of thing, where the victim is the one who is shamed, the victim is the one who is given the task to bear the burden of proof. The victim is the one who is made to suffer. So unfortunately, that's how it happened. I don't know whether other churches have the same scenario. Of course, I've had some stories. So in this particular case, the members of the church they were harassing never reported. It was people from outside who were reporting them for what they had done. So of course, then suddenly the people in the church whom they were harassing were like, yeah, in fact, yes, this day you came to me and da. So they were like, oops, we are caught. So in the process of them arguing among themselves, for whatever reason they began arguing among themselves, you're the one who told me to go, you're the one who told me to do this ABCD, you're the one who has been pushing me, you're older than me, you're younger than me. Suddenly the older gentleman begins to shout at the younger gentleman, telling him, now you say we should go to the witch doctor and bewitch Pastor David. And everything kind of stopped. People are like, wait a minute. Did you hear what they said? Huh? You hear them? Wait till you talk. So the girl said, excuse me, what did you say? So pastor said, Deacon, so and so, I can't remember his name. Deacon so and so. Wait till you talk, talk him again. The girl was like, yes, now this young man, he tell me, Deacon whoever tell me we go to the witch, and witch doctor, and I get something and give Pastor David, because Pastor David took my seat. That's when I realized, so this is why he was giving me that stare, that bombastic side eye he was giving me the whole time. And it apparently he was the... Okay, I knew he was, but he had been the deputy pastor for a long time, and then I took his seat, I took his position. That's why he was pissed, but I didn't know he was so pissed that he would decide to go and finish me. And then the young guy goes, no, I beg. How you go talk say so? I be younger than you. Now you old man. How I tell you? How I take advice you? As young as I am, take advice you to bewitch the pastor. Then they're like, in fact, so what happened, bottom line was, apparently, the younger guy had asked me for money for shoes. I told him I don't have money for shoes because the money I have is my salary. I can't just be dishing out money. I had been generous in the initial stages. Then I realized people are taking advantage of me, including the senior pastor. Story for another day. Soon. In the Chronicles, Humanitarian Chronicles, I'll tell you that story also very soon. But it's part of it is in this book. This book, that's my book. You move my head, that's my book. Yeah. Part of it is there. So apparently, the young guy got angry that I didn't buy him shoes. The older guy was angry, of course, that I had not taken his position in the church as a deputy pastor. And more so, he had asked me for some money, and I refused to give him. He had been asking for money, and I'd been giving him. At one point, I just said, I'm done. So apparently, they went to a witch doctor, told them about me, how they hated me, or whatever it is I told them. I don't know, they told him, and he gave them something, some kind of witchcraft, whatever it was, and told them put it in some food and give it to me. So Rogers was used by this fellow. I know Rogers. I remember the name because we sat next to each other for a whole year in the project. They gave Rogers to bring it to me. Rogers was also a deacon in the church. Gave him to give it to me. So apparently they poisoned it and bewitched it from this Vinci. And I was supposed to die times 2. I'm glad I didn't die, so I've been able to continue doing the work that I do. So that's one of the weird stories from the humanitarian field. I have more. I will tell you more. But also, if you want to catch some more stories, grab a copy of that book, which is available in bookshops and online on Amazon and on kobo.com, amazon.com and kobo.com. You can find it and have the full story of some of these things I'm talking about. Well, have a good day and catch you later in another video. Bye-bye.